Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Are you watching what's happening? But they're misinterpreting it. We're going to decode this. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. Now, I saw a lot of articles like this. Now, this article is titled Ripple Presents XRP and RLUSD, which RLUSD cannot do what it's supposed to do without XRP. That's not even possible. Look, XRP is the speed, the liquidity. It's the best of the best, whatever. But it says to replace Swift's outdated system. No, you have now listen to what they're saying. In Ripple, before I decode this, I want to say this, just in case anybody from Ripple ever watched my video. Keep applying that pressure to Swift. Keep applying that pressure to the banks. We have them right where we want them. We're going to take that bank money. It's so close. You see how weak they are? You see what they're saying? I mean, a while back we read some statements or something came from Swift, directly from Swift. And the way that they were talking, once again, shows you they're still behind. Ripple knows that, but let's read this little tidbit here. Pay close attention to what they're saying. This is not about replacing Swift. They know they have Swift on its bended knees. It's weakened. It's time to strike while the iron is hot. They can strike a deal with Swift, absorb them. They need what Ripple has. Literally. That's why they're saying this, but I'm going to read to you what they're saying, okay? And I'm going to give you my interpretation and you tell me. It says Ripple unveils XRP solution while Swift struggles. Just like what we read a couple weeks back. They're struggling. And even with the integration of certain aspects of Chainlink, I told you, they themselves said they were going to that they were open to working with maybe 4 to 5 more companies, of which I never heard them elaborate on or say, hey, we're actually working with these extra companies that they claimed they were going to work with. They left it open-ended, obtuse. They never said what companies, okay? That's the point. But it means that they knew that they were going to need extra technology, some sort of edge. Everything was incomplete. Let me read this a little bit. I know, you're like, Mick, get to it. I have to say all of this. It's getting hot right now. Things are getting interesting. Let me get all these thoughts out. We're going to get to it. Ripple shared in a blog post on May the 28th that blockchain technology and the digital asset XRP could help resolve many of the long-standing problems in cross-border payments, particularly those linked to the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication System. Now, once again, most of these articles are taking it like Ripple is going against Swift and saying, hey, we're going to replace you. That's how they're writing these articles. But no, they're actually putting pressure on Swift. They just said could help resolve with the problems that Swift is experiencing. What does that mean? What has Ripple been known for? Ripple's known for working with the companies, working with the banks. So what's the goal here? The goal is to get to that bank money, whichever way it comes. But if this is the easier way, you take that path. If the easier way is just absorbing them, they're going to be at your mercy. They don't have the technology. They don't. They can't compete with XRP. There's no way. But we got to stay focused on the goal. The goal is to get to that bank money. And when that bank money comes in, XRP's price explodes. There's no way around it. No way. Period. Everybody knows this now. And you know how everybody knows it? Because the big money is getting in now. Right after I made that video where first that other one video we covered, one company was acquiring XRP. Then the next video, another company was acquiring XRP for a treasury. But that company, they alleged, was going to be backed by a Saudi prince. That was the update on that news, that there was a possibly, you got to look into it for yourself, possibly a Saudi prince that was going to be backing them to go into buying XRP as a treasury. Now I've seen a bunch of articles come out about that. The big money, here's the point. The big money knows XRP is major now. They can't even hide it. They can't hide it. And the time is ticking. So there's no more time to waste. So there's no more time for them to hide what they're doing. No, they feel as if they have to get in now before it's too late. It has nothing to do with retail. Those other businesses, I beg your pardon, those other businesses, there's a lot of them, many, that are not in yet. When they do get in, they're going to drive those prices up. Now, listen, A little price raise is nothing for these big money people. If you're going to look at it in an overarching way and look at their wealth and say, well, this is nothing to them to buy it at a higher price. Yeah, it is nothing, but it still doesn't mean that they're ignorant. If you're not ignorant, you want to get things at the best possible price to maximize your profits. So they got to get in now while everything's low so they can ride the wave up when all those other businesses get in and drive the price up, and then they can profit. They're not ignorant. They're money makers. They're money makers, but they're showing you. But wait, once again, circling back around, the goal is to get to that bank money. Everybody knows this. That's why they're all getting in. They know the banks need it. And you think the banks are just going to utilize the technology? They're not going to try to make a profit off XRP where everybody else is. You have so many high money clients of certain companies that want to make a profit off of XRP, think not look into upholding what they said. People just let that get buried. Why? Don't let it get buried. Uphold said. And who are their clients? Who are their clients? You think they're talking about some low money clients? No disrespect, but no. These companies specialize in serving high money, high value individuals. That's who they always focus on. And they said that they wanted to come up with new ways for their clients to maximize the value of XRP, the profits off of XRP. That's what they said. Did we ever get an update on that? Because I don't remember that, but maybe I missed it, but I'm keeping my ears and my eyes open. Now let's get back to this. They just simply need to absorb Swift, and they can. They just simply need to work with Swift. Once they get in the door, it's over. And what I mean by that? Smooth sailing. XRP will dominate. XRPL will dominate. This system here that's so archaic, dilapidated, and backed by anachronistic thinking, this system right here will be so addicted to XRP, the speed of it, the efficiency of it. You think not? Wait, I'm going to let them tell you themselves. Now listen to this. They're going to tell you. Let me scroll down. Let me get my stuff set up here. Okay. So they shared in the blog post. It can help resolve many long-standing problems in cross-border payments, particularly those. We read that part. The company called attention to the fragility of traditional rails. To this day, they're fragile, like a baby. They can't compete with us. But wait, I'm a little excited. Folks, this moment's I've been waiting for. Few years left. That's it. And I don't mean from explosion, because I think there's an explosion coming pretty soon. Just my humble opinion. That doesn't mean you have to believe that. Not financial advice. But I think we're looking at 2 to 3 explosions. I've said that many times. But I think for that massive one. Yeah, I think we'll see how fast it progresses. Like 2 years. We've just been unleashed. It'll take a little time. It's reasonable. Right? We're reasonable people. Now, the company called attention to the fragility of the traditional rails, where manual processes still dominate global money movement. Same problem that we heard in the regular B2B payments. Same problems. Oh, it's a little bit worse with the regular businesses, non-banking businesses. It says here, many cross-border payments still rely on manual processes. A typo. You typed something wrong, just a little error. A typo in an account number, an incorrect SWIFT code, or incomplete payment instructions can all cause a transaction to fail. We read recently how much trouble that causes now, didn't we? Quote, they continue. Oh, they were telling. Let them talk. Let them tell. And then you rip apart everything that they're saying so that you, with your own eyes, your own ears, your mind is getting information directly. That's nothing better than direct information. Direct perception. Nothing's better than that. Direct understanding. It says, quote, failed payments don't just waste time. They also incur cost. Ooh, hit them where it hurts. Ripple. Close that. Bring them in. I know you're going to get Swift. I know you're going to get them. They can't deny the truth of which you speak. They're not superior to you in technology. Where's their answer? They haven't selected a proper answer to their problem. And we've been at this for 4 years, 4.5, something like that. Come on now. Which means that they have no solid solution. They have to select something. What's it going to be? Why wouldn't a high possibility be the absolute best of the bank coins? And Ripple's been working with a lot of them. I anticipate a lot of other connections are going to pop up soon enough. Sorry, my back, little itch on my back. You ever do that? You got a flexible arm and you just bend it back there like so, and you scratch right there. Oh, nothing better than a good back scratch right there. I need a back scratcher. Anybody got a recommendation? I don't like those metal ones. Somebody immediately went to the old school metal. Get one of those metal ones, Mick. I don't like those metal ones. I know which one you're talking about too. You're talking about the metal one with the hand. You remember that? It's like a little weirdo hand, and you just scratch. No, I don't like that. Let me get something more creative and less anthropomorphic. But I appreciate the recommendation, though. So anyway, let's get back to this here. You're joking around. I'm serious. Look, stop joking around. Let's stay serious. So anyway, incur costs. So they're talking money again. That's how you get to these companies. You have to talk money. They're wasting money. They're losing money. Ripple can save them. No, forget Ripple. But do what you do, Ripple. I mean, no disrespect. But let's be real. XRP is the power, is the star, is the best. XRPL is where it's at. Just like all the other bank coins. They all have similar capabilities. But we're talking about XRP here because they're lining Swift up to take them. Whether it happens or not, how would I know? I just know what I see. I'm calling it down the middle as accurately and fair as I can. I don't work for Ripple. I don't know these people, but I feel like they can do that. They can do this. So they're talking money. That's how you get to them. They can save them costs. Also, once again, the technology right now will be a lower price than it will be in the future when it becomes popularized and mass adopted. Get in early. They can also float that. Transaction fees, almost nothing. Then if you're using payment channels on the XRPL, the higher the amounts you're sending, the cheaper the transaction fees become. Then, once again, with payment channels on the XRPL, only XRP can be used. No RLUSD, only XRP. Look it up. I posted it many times on the channel throughout the years. Anybody can go on XRPL. I think it's xrpl.org and look it up. Only XRP can be used. You think banks don't want... Oh, and also another thing. It makes the transactions move faster. Now, let's also keep in mind. A typo. That's not going to happen with a Ripple who in the future, they said that they want to. Well, first of all, you have a lot of companies working on smart contracts. You're going to have smart contracts for XRP. So there's that. Number one, a smart contract is not going to allow these types of errors. Number two, Ripple has spoken about AI in the past. A lot of these Bitcoin companies have about the implementation of AI, a proper AI, which a lot of them are very, very advanced. You see what's coming out lately? Not the ones everybody knows about. No, those are nothing. Those are nothing now. The ones that people don't know about that are highly, highly advanced, that will shock them. That's what they will employ. And they're not going to allow this kind of error. That AI will spot it out. Oh, no. And it will make a correction, or it will stop everything and have you corrected if there's going to be a human element, which there can be since people take so much, they have a problem with if AI is doing things alone. So that I don't foresee a future where AI just does everything alone. That's not going to happen. No way. The people wouldn't allow it. So there's always going to be the human element so we can recommend a correction before that error becomes a problem, right? So now it says create operational headaches. Hit them where it hurts. Listen, folks, this right here. Now, maybe about a year ago, I used to cover articles. I try not to do it too much because I don't like to talk about, even though this is real stuff, I don't like to talk about things too much on the channel where it has too much of a negative energy to it. But people in offices, they were literally working them until And a lot of these different businesses, they were reporting maximum amount of stress. People were not happy. They're working long hours. You don't think it would do well for them to negate some of those operational headaches, take a little stress off their people's shoulders? Ripple is saying they can help with that. XRPL helps with that. And it most definitely does. It does. It says, and can strain relationships with partners. And that's a beautiful little piece of that sentence right there. Know why? Because if they work with us, you keep those partners happy. You don't work with Ripple or one of the bank coin companies, maybe those partners come work with us directly. Which way you want to take it? Either way, right now in this chess game, we have all the right moves right now. We're like what's the guy? We're like Magnus in his prime right now. We're like, I probably shouldn't use Doc Holliday as an example, right? Doc Holliday was sweating. He looks sick. He's coughing. And then what's the guy? Ringo. He asked Doc Holliday in the movie, the great all-time great movie Tombstone. If you haven't seen it, if you like action cowboy movies, go watch Tombstone. Great movie. But there's a lot to learn. And I like to watch movies where I learn and grasp something. And Ringo said, you must be Holliday. He's like, you in your prime too? Which was a rhetorical question because clearly it looked like, Doc Holliday was sick and he was on his last legs. Holliday in all his confidence, even sick. He didn't lose an ounce of confidence. He believed in himself to the end. He looked at Ringo in the eyes and he said, no. No, my apologies. I got it wrong. Ringo said, what about you? Are you retired? After he had already asked, he was having a discussion with the other guy. I can't, Wyatt. Wyatt he said was retired. And Ringo asked Doc Holliday, what about you? And Doc Holliday looks at him with all the confidence in the world, even though he's sickly, even though he's weak. He doesn't show any of that in his mind, in his spirit. And he says, not me. I'm in my prime. That's powerful. As a being, a conscious, sentient being on earth, that's powerful. I'm in my prime. You got to have that confidence. You have to have that belief in yourself. Don't ever defeat yourself. Let life defeat you. Let life take you down. What do I mean by that? You're going to have to beat me. You're going to have to beat. There's no way I'm going to say I'm going to lose. I'm going to think that I'm going to lose. I'm not even putting that in my mind. Positive thinking all the way through. I feel like I'm going to win. Prove to me I'm going to lose. You're going to have to show me. That's what, and that's a winner's mentality. You have to have that. No chinks in your armor. At least if you did have a chink, you don't let the world know. You don't let the world know you have a chink in your armor. Never. Strength to the end. Strong to the end. Strong in and strong out. That's difficult to do. But anyway, how do we get there from this? There's a connection there. If you go back, rewind the video and play it, you're going to see the connection. All right. So then it continues on. This got deep. Reducing manual touch points and increasing automation. Talk to them. Automation is the future. Yes, I told people, man, if these small business and medium business people don't jump on that full automation, I don't know what to tell you. You don't want easy money, not you, but like the businesses. They're about to make it easy to make very, very, I use easy too much. I use the word too much, but the possibilities of just making global money. You know how advantageous that is? Sometimes things can get slow in certain regions. It can. And certain sales will start going down a little bit. Now you have the opportunity. Let's sell over here. Sell over there. I'm reaching out everywhere I can. It's going to be fully automated. Let AI do its job. Let smart contracts do their job. And the other mechanisms, yeah. Oh, all right. So now let's keep going. The crypto firm emphasize that these outdated systems, which typically rely on multiple intermediaries, and correspondent banks are prone to delays, errors, lack of transparency. Ooh, they got a problem. You saw what happened with that bank the other day. They got in more trouble. Did you see that? Yes, you did. I know you saw that article. They got in more trouble for not reporting information to the regulator that they're supposed to report. What are you hiding? What are you doing? And this is one of those big banks that they say they're always talking about crypto in an authoritative manner. Right. Because we should trust you, who the regulator has to continue to slap your hand and punish you. No, gotta stop it. Now, we trust ourselves. That's who we're going to trust. We're going to trust ourselves, our own eyes, and our research. That's what we're going to trust. So I'm going to leave this one there. Oh man, there's so much more. I could talk about this for a long time. I could, but we're going to move on. Let's cover just a little bit of Bitcoin news. We got some big stuff happening in Bitcoin. So let's cover this here. I actually had 3 Bitcoin articles. Lone Star Ledger. Texas clears final hurdle for Bitcoin Reserve Fund. This is going to be happening all over the world. Everybody, all of these big money entities, nations, states, companies want a piece of Bitcoin. How long before Bitcoin is becoming super duper rare to the point where the price must explode because of its rarity? I don't think it's going to take long for that. That's a major aspect of this. The Texas Senate has approved the conference committee report for Senate Bill 21 by a decisive 24-7 margin. This move has cleared the final legislative hurdle for the state's proposed Bitcoin Reserve Fund. With both chambers adopting the measure, the legislation advances to Governor Greg Abbott for final approval and signature into law. Let's hope this person is a crypto supporter, right? During floor proceedings, Senator Schwerter declared the motion's success and underlined that the law creates the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve as a specialized fund that would be administered by the state comptroller of public accounts. I had high energy today because I actually got some really good sleep earlier, which is rare. The final version incorporates several amendments that emerged during House deliberations. This includes authorization for the comptroller to engage qualified liquidity providers and expand the fund's financial capabilities. Legislative negotiators made major modifications to the original proposal during conference committee discussions. A key revision extends the duration requirement for eligible cryptocurrencies from 12 months to 24 months. This means altcoins must maintain a minimum market capitalization of $500 billion for 2 full years before qualifying for inclusion in the reserve. Members of the conference committee declined to allow the comptroller to use reserve assets for lending or staking. In addition, they removed clauses that would have allowed voluntary cryptocurrency contributions to the fund. The legislation positions Texas to become the 3rd state to establish an official Bitcoin reserve. This following pioneering efforts by New Hampshire. I didn't know that. I knew about Arizona. I didn't know New Hampshire. Shout out to New Hampshire. The development shows a growing trend among state governments exploring cryptocurrency as a tool for financial diversification and economic resilience. They're all going to make a lot of money. They know this already. And they need it. Well, I don't know if they need it. I mean, I don't know what the taxes are in those particular states as far as what they're collecting to utilize for what they claim to utilize the taxes for. New Hampshire's framework served as a reference point for Texas legislators, particularly regarding the methodology for evaluating and incorporating additional digital assets beyond Bitcoin into state reserves. The $500 billion market capitalization threshold represents one of the most stringent requirements among state-level cryptocurrency initiatives, with a number of mining operations and blockchain startups establishing significant presences within the state borders. Texas has established itself as a leader in the adoption of cryptocurrencies. All right, so things are looking really good when it comes to Bitcoin. I think we have time for maybe one more article. There's one here that references gold. I don't know why they're saying what they're saying. You know what? Since it caught my eye, why not? Let's just read this. Just a little tidbit here. All right. Which, by the way, if you made it this far, you enjoyed the content of this video, please click that like button. Greatly appreciate that. And thank you. Now, this article is titled Gold Reasserts Safe Haven Status. Reasserts? What do you mean? When did it lose that? What is going on here? Oh, I see. And then they make the comparison. This is their agenda here. But Bitcoin's path may be brighter. They always have this. So many people have this comparative mind. Like, that's dominant. They don't see any other way but comparing. They understand through comparison, which is like, I get that. But there is also the analysis of the object in and of itself. You break it down to its most quintessential nature, and you just go from there. But I think the quicker way is just to compare this and that, but let's move on. Why not? I have so many thoughts about that. Bitcoin sank on Thursday and Friday, continuing its decline for much of the past week as investors pivoted away from the world's most valuable cryptocurrency in favor of the most traditional safe haven asset, gold. I was just talking about that. There is a flow from gold into Bitcoin and back from Bitcoin into gold that has been happening for some time. Now, are they taking that into account? Because what had gone into Bitcoin may have already have come from gold. And it probably is not easy to see because just countries and people just continuously are buying gold and that price is staying stable and going up at certain times. So it may not be as visible as it was in the past, but that capital that went into the Bitcoin in the first place probably came from gold. Either that or some of it may have leaked out of money market funds. That's also possible. But people are always going to favor gold as a safe haven asset. It's extremely safe. And I think in a few years, they're going to be shocked by silver as well. And silver will have its proper place. And so this recent trend appeared to restore the paths that the two assets have traveled for most of 2025, with gold's gains outpacing those of Bitcoin. I don't see that changing. No, it could change this year, but maybe towards the end of the year, depending on the catalyst for Bitcoin being actuated upon. But gold's catalysts are much more solid, period. And people don't really have to worry about gold, whereas there is always concern with Bitcoin. If you're one of those people where if the price sinks low enough, then it could be devastating to one's life. There's some people like that. Not financial advice, once again. All right, so I'm going to leave that there. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the Monday.